We believe this country has the positions to tackle the problem. This country had this privilege to address the issues. Since the establishment of Chinese Communist State in 1949, they continuously harassed all human race exists in China. And then they wiped out some of the ethnic groups, including Manchus, Mongols, Tangut, Khitan. Majority of them already been wiped out. But how?
In China, under the Chinese law, anyone attempting to separate any part of Chinese territory outside of China is committing a crime.
It is due to the amount of sufferance that exists in my small physical shape. It's actually mountains of amount of persecution that I go through every day and night. How we wake up in the morning with fear, how we go to sleep with devastations, and how we engage or socialize with others in fear of having any further threat or intimidation or harassment. Oh yeah, nice travel. Because I forgot to connect this one to the laptop. This is the code. Good afternoon, this is Nurmuhammad speaking.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. Thanks for having a chat with us about your talk this week.
And thank you for your interest to have this interview with me today.
Do you mind if I put you on speaker so I can record a conversation?
Okay.
When I was at university, I did quite a few essays about it. That was after 2009 crackdown, but obviously a lot has happened since then. I was just wondering if you could let us know, I suppose, what the situation in East Turkistan is now.
Where are your family now?
In prison because of the ethnicity, religious background, and also the linkage to me, and because of my activism in Australia.
Are you saying that ABC faked these videos of this woman crying?
There's a lot of fake news.
East Turkistan has become a place of hell. Communications between outside world is completely cut off since 2017. And the 1 to 3 million people, according to the international account, are locked up in the detention facilities, where the Uyghur community believe that the number could be reaching to 5 to 10 million.
That there is 1 million people among the Uyghurs who are locked up in so-called camps. This is completely fabricated.
How many people are locked up?
I do not know.
Well, you can't say it's not a million if you don't have an alternative number.
Then there had been increasing level of tightness caused by the Chinese government, restricting the international access, the media access, or tourist access, or journalism access.
Why don't you let journalists go into Xinjiang? Would you allow me to go and travel there?
Without minders?
You would allow me to go with a team from the ABC to report from Xinjiang to see the camps?
No, stand what you with CNN. I think your team went to Xinjiang.
We were often detained.
The East Turkistan became a total dystopian state where Chinese security forces can do whatever they want to do.
How difficult is it to get information?
It is becoming an impossible way to get first-hand experiences, especially from the people who are locked up in the multiple detention centers. Every single Uyghurs living in Australia are deeply and largely affected by the atrocities committed by the Chinese government.
Where are your family now?
All my family members are locked up. This is a clear example how Chinese government is intimidating or harming an Australian citizen. I consider myself as an Australian. I lived here for 15 years. But what about you? Do you feel safe in this country?
Not all of us do. I mean, you talk to the traditional owners and they're not feeling really safe. All those things you mentioned that are happening to your people is exactly what's happened to them. You can't imagine a group of people, you know, like the Chinese government, sitting around and they're saying, oh, you've got a good idea. Let's absolutely destroy a group of people.
For anyone, it is a wake-up call.
It makes me think that there's no such thing as an innocent bystander.
Are Uyghurs in Australia at any risk of the Chinese government as well for speaking out about what's happening?
Uyghur community in Australia are always at risk of intimidation, harassment, and the harming policy of the Chinese government inside China and in Australia. So, Rodney, you tell me about the water.
Well, this is our boundary here. This was the tribal boundary, the Derwent River. And down out here to our west is the Huon River, and that's the other boundary. If you wanted to go on someone else's land to access medicine, to access other things...
Do you have to get permission from them?
And that's what the Welcome to Country's about. I'd like to acknowledge our frontier people of the past. Who stood up to the soldiers and to the guns. They fought for their land, and they was the first people to defend this land. And when people come to your land to steal your land, those people come with intent. The intent is to take the people off the land and use that land.
First of all, I would like to acknowledge that we are standing on the lands of the indigenous people who had these spiritual connections, and they are the owners in the history and the present and in the future. At the same time, I acknowledge that my homeland was also a native land for the Uyghur people of my race. And it was always, and it will be always be my home country. This only can be found in East Turkistan. So this is a must dish in Uyghur table. When you have the celebrations, you know, whole village will be coming to enjoy. That's enough for 500 people.
So these are your memories?
That's our memory. And then I used to just help those cook to burn the fire next to them. But that was a long time ago.
How long?
25 years ago. As I say, 25 years ago. But I learned this one from my mom. Yeah. My mom taught me how to cook this. My father passed away in April 2019. I got the news 3 weeks after his death. I know he was taken by the police on many occasions, interrogation, torture. My mother, which is almost 70 years of age, and my 5 siblings, 2 sisters, 3 brothers, their husband and wives, all went missing. Another younger brother who was a public employee, was an agricultural professional who worked in Hotem, Southern area. He got 2 sons. And he found to be praying in home, then he and his wife were taken. I don't know what happened to their children. Oh, water, you have been so pure, you have been so clear that the fish could live, the people could drink. And then you flow with the joy and happiness. But today I have seen that you are polluted. I go to sleep with devastations, and then the nightmare comes in. Of course, you look like me smart enough, dressed nicely, talking beautifully, but inside, multiple river is flowing. Assalamualaikum. I think this should be ready, and you can test this one. Just putting one. That looks like ready. Bismillah. I'm really good at cooking this dish, and normally I am the main one who cooks this dish to my family too in Australia. My wife said, you cook rice is nice, so you cook for us. Fresh salads. The carrot, come have a look. You need to learn. Didn't you ask me to teach you?
It smells beautiful.
Yeah. This is the color of the carrot.
I feel complicit when you buy Chinese products. We want to go to a non-carbon future. We're going to purchase electric vehicles. And we think that we're doing something good. But in doing so, then we're also supporting the extinguishment, the genocide of Uyghur people.
The characteristics or nature of that particular group called Uyghur people is seen as a barrier for Chinese government to achieve their dream.
There was mention of using the biometrics, so the facial recognitions, as well as one's digital records with smartphones.
Very true. Recently, with the development of the AI technologies or other technological advances, Chinese government forced every single Uyghurs to install a special app to track down their records 24/7. So basically, all your conversations, all your movements, all your connections is reported to the police. That's how they rounded up thousands of Uyghurs from their home with the accusations of communicating with the foreign journalists, communicating with the foreign relatives, or speaking or accessing a particular context online.
But if that is used in a systemic way by a government, I think Australians would certainly be very concerned with where that would go to.
And I would remind the public today, there is in place an arrangement where all of our metadata from our phones to our tablets to our computers at home, it is all being recorded and held for 2 years. It can be accessed by the authorities without warrant.
The safety and the welfare of the Uyghur community is crucially relevant to the safety of the Australian public and the national interest. Something is happening and we're still in deep sleep. We have a long connection with the CLO of the Department of Home Affairs, and they invite me to present the situation of the Uyghur communities and any concerns that we have while we're having this citizenship in Australia, but at the same time whether we receive any intimidation, threat or harassment from the Chinese government. 188 is this side.
Bob Hawke stood up against the Chinese party when they had the Tiananmen Square massacre. Where's the politician today?
I presume some of our federal politicians might have seen the Four Corners program if they watched the ABC.
Why do they need reintegration?
Why this is to have to find the jobs, to have to make a better living.
They have jobs. Was it just because they're Muslim?
No.
Many of the politicians that I met, they became emotional. Some became devastated. They could not forget, and they wrote to me saying, Nurmuhammad, I'm sorry that I could not take anything. I could not do anything for you at the moment. But I understand what it meant to be persecuted.
How did things go at the interview?
The interview went well. She is going to raise this concern with the government.
When you were talking about the Chinese and how they could have an effect on Australia, what did you say?
She became really color change, immediately becoming so cautious. She gave me feedback from yesterday's presentation. She said, amazing lesson for an Australian like me to learn the real history of the Uyghur people. What China brought to us? A wave of cultural, economical, political invasions.
Never once did I hear anyone say it was East Turkistan. It's always just called Xinjiang.
Xinjiang.
And it was a revelation.
They want our land, resources, and they don't want our people. Oh, water, your name and your nature was the purpose of cleaning. But today, you have become polluted. You have become polluted by someone, and we are unable to protect you. Oh, Mother River. Oh, Mother River.
You're a very gentle soul. When you're a guest in people's homes, you're such a caring, compassionate person. But in your interviews, it's like you're a very powerful Mongol warrior about to stampede over the top of the Chinese wall, I think in some interviews you need to let Noor out. Even though you're carrying this huge burden of representing all of your 30 million people, which must be, I could not even imagine.
Qinghai we call Köknok, and Gansu is renamed after Kansu. Because lots of river and water, we get Kansu, that means white water. I feel so much relieved to visit Tasmania. I feel so much enjoyable with the fruits that I tasted, the food that I eaten, and also the hospitality of those people who are hosting me in their homes, taking me around, introducing to different institutions, and also the love and the compassion from the hearts of the individuals. I am extremely thankful for everyone's and every single grass and every single creature in this land for their hospitality, for their welcoming, and for their support for me and my cause, my nation.